Hello and welcome to Joe's Drawing Club. This is session 4 and today we are going to start looking at figure drawing. So we are going to look at creating characters and building upon those to create figures that have different proportions. So without further ado, let's get started. So today we will need a rubber and a pencil along with a few sheets of paper and a nice hard flat surface. Okay, so last session we looked at letters and we were drawing simple letters and then we were drawing around those, and if you remember I said something about an analogy of a race car going around a race track. So if you've got this line, we're drawing around to create that letter. So I've created a very simple letter there, and then I've drawn around it to give it this kind of bubble text. So if I was to do an I, I'll draw a line and a dot, I'll draw around, and then I can follow that line to create our letters. Now we're going to use a very similar system to draw our figures, our characters, but obviously these characters can be of any proportion. When you're drawing your own characters, you develop your own style, so actually you can create characters that look realistic, or you can create characters that look very cartoony, so you can create almost like they're called caricatures, where you have a large head and quite a small body. Now today we're just going to look at a very simple way of building out a body from a very skeletal structure. Now you would have perhaps drawn stickmen in the past, and these are a great start. Now people say, oh, I can only draw stickmen, but actually a stickman is the first stage to drawing a character that has a real shape and purpose. So let's get started. Now when you've seen a stickman in the past, I imagine you've probably seen a head, and then you've got your body, and then your legs and your arms. Now with this stickman, we're going to advance from that slightly with this drawing today, because we're going to add two things that this stickman doesn't have, and one of those things is shoulders, and the other is hips. So when we draw our stickman, we are going to draw, you can draw an oval or a circle for the head, and then we're going to draw a line that will come out from the bottom of that, and that's going to be the neck and the back. And then, rather than bringing the arms out of here, we're going to take into consideration that this character has shoulders. Now these shoulders come out further than the head, so we're going to draw a line straight away across here. Now it's going to be fairly short, just a little bit longer than the head either side, and these are going to be the points of our shoulders. And then if we come down a bit, we're going to draw another line here, and this is going to be where the hips are. So this line's slightly shorter, but it means that when we draw, so this character here I'm just going to draw in a standard standing position. Okay, we're not going to look at doing seated, jumping, running. Those are things that we will look at in future lessons, in like future sessions. But today we're just going to look at drawing kind of somebody standing still, to give us an idea of how we can use a stickman to help create a character. So these arms are going to come out, and I'm just going to draw some arms, and they're just going to drop down. Just straight lines. We're not going to worry about elbows. We're not going to worry about hands for now. We're just drawing some lines. And then this part here, now looking at this, my body's quite long here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my rubber. I'm going to take that rubber. Now I want my body to be probably about 2 lots of that head. So if I just take this measurement roughly with my fingers, I'm going to go like that. 1, 2. So I'm going to take a line and I'll mark it there. So I'm going to draw a line along there, and I've just brought those hips up a tiny bit, and then I can bring those legs down. And then I'm going to do some simple lines at the bottom, for feet. So this is the kind of the advanced stickman. So this stickman is very similar, but he's got a neck, shoulders, and hips. And then we're going to take this process and we're going to apply it to this skeleton. Now, when it comes to the neck, I'm going to just drop that down like so, either side, so we've got a similar thickness each side, and then I'm going to come along here and roll it over that shoulder. And the same for this side, I'm going to come along and roll it over that shoulder. Now, this arm, we could create muscle tone, we could do all sorts of kind of creating lots of detail in this, but at the moment I'm just going to exaggerate and offset this line to give us a simple figure. So I'm actually going to go and do a straight line parallel to this line, and the same on this side, straight line parallel to that line. And then this here is kind of your armpit area, and the same on this side here. So I'm going to draw a line, and these lines are parallel here. Now you'll notice that these lines are slightly shaky, and that's because actually I'm a lot more comfortable turning the work, but I'd like to try to keep it straight up in this position for this drawing so it makes it easier for you to view. Now when it comes to the body here, you'll have a chest and you'll have your waist coming down into your legs, but actually for this, rather than creating so much like detail and shape at the moment, we're just going to drop that line right the way down, all the way down to the foot. From the armpit, all the way down, past the hip, down to the foot. Now for the hands, I'm going to create mitten hands. So these mitten hands, I'm going to put just a little round cup shape and then a little bump for the thumb. So you can see that it kind of looks almost like a boxing glove. And I'm going to do something similar on this side here. Now your hands are always going to be slightly below your hips. Or not. That's purely up to you. Now this is a character that's kind of anatomically correct to an extent. It means it's kind of similar to what we're comfortable with seeing and how we envisage a human would look, but obviously lots of people play around with those barriers and create some fantastic characters. For example, SpongeBob SquarePants, obviously he looks absolutely nothing like a human, but he's still got arms, he's still got legs, he runs around, he's got a kind of an anatomy within him, but it's been squished and changed to a non-recognisable form. It looks nothing like a human, but he can still move around almost like a human. So when it comes to these legs, we're going to start slightly wider at the top and go narrow towards the bottom. So you've got your thighs and then you're going to go down towards your ankle. So for these, I'm just going to taper down, and the same with that side, just tapering down. And then I'm going to draw almost around the way I did the letter here. I'm just going to draw around the line to create the foot. Now this arm is quite large, so I'm going to bring that in a little bit. You'll notice that what I've done is I've just taken that stickman, and just from drawing around that stickman I've created a body that has more of a mass to it. It's actually, you know, something that I could put clothes onto. You could kind of like, yeah, dress that character, and you can kind of see how things are occurring. If I was to put shorts on this stickman, then obviously I don't know how I would even go about doing that. I imagine they'd look a little bit like that, and if I was to put a t-shirt on this stickman, they would look, I don't know, a little bit like that, I expect. It becomes very tricky, but actually with this you can see where the arms are, you can see where the body is. So if I put a t-shirt onto this character, I'm just going to draw where the sleeves would be. I could draw a line around the neck, and I could draw a line around the waist, and instantly with those lines this character has a t-shirt that actually looks like a t-shirt. And the same as if you were to put shorts on, so roughly where the knee is. I'm going to draw some lines there, come down, and put some shorts on him. So I can add clothing to this character a lot more easily than I can on this character. And obviously this character's looking forward and it looks slightly characterless in the sense that it doesn't have any personality. But obviously you can change the position of this, you can change the position of your stickman before you start, and that would change the position of your character. And you can also add a lot more shape to that character to give it a bit more of a personality. And you can go side on with the face and side on with the body. But for now, I think this is a good starting point to get going with creating your own characters that represent roughly the proportions of a human. I hope this is helpful, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Take care.